We understand that for the retail sector right now, there's a lot of problems with the drive to store, and beacons are just one of many technologies that can help out. So with this webinar, we wanted to clearly explain the role that beacons can and have played for retailers, so you can see if it's right for you. So with that in mind, here's our overview here. I just wanted to go through a brief understanding of beacons so we're all on the same page, a few thoughts on beacons in retail in general, and then we're diving into 4 areas of case studies so you can really visualize how others are using them, and then pulling out 5 of the best practices from those case studies. And then we're going to conclude with an invitation to try yourself with our technology. So hopefully that sounds good. And then we have a beacon briefing here. So first section, let me actually show you guys what a beacon looks like here. Hello again. We've got 2 beacons with us here. Yeah, so basically they're just small devices that broadcast a signal via Bluetooth with ranges. They can go up to 70 meters, we've seen, and the prices can range from $5 to just over 100, mostly depending on the battery life. And in general, they work with apps. But if your brand does not have an app, then there are some projects that bring retailers together in other apps too.
There are a few different types of beacons, in fact. So one of them, the Edison ones, in fact, you can use it without an app. Only with the Android, no?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a couple of different types of beacon formats, and one's from Apple, which is what most people are still using. And there's a new format from Google that is a bit more flexible, but the industry hasn't quite caught up to it yet. It's better more if you have Android users.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically all you need to know about beacons is that they take up very little energy, both in the device itself and in users' phones. They send out an identifier that triggers some type of action on mobile devices. And that we get questions about user privacy quite a bit. They don't collect data, they just send out a signal. So any data collected is up to the admin administrator. So if the user can trust the app or your app, they can trust the beacons. And as far as beacons in retail, yeah, so there's just a lot of apps on both Android and iOS. So beacons can be a way that you can stand out. You can generate some press for your app. But more importantly, they help shoppers stay engaged with your app in the right place and in the right time. And some retailers actually have deployments but don't publicize that they're using them. They could be doing small scale testing or collecting data. So if you don't have beacons yet, your competitors probably do. And we hope these case studies can help you have an idea of how exactly you can use them.
It's an important thing to say also that the retail sector is one of the most active regarding the use of beacons, especially to try to do indoor location maps or service for the shoppers. But it's important to know that it's one of the most active sectors using this technology.
So, on to the case studies.
Okay, so one of the first case studies for the French speakers, I think it's perhaps you know about this one, but it's quite interesting. There is a French company called Monoprix. Monoprix, in fact, is one of the brands launched by Galeries Lafayette and another partner. Fact. And they start last year one very interesting experience in 22 different shops in Paris, in the area of Paris, installing 4 beacons in each stop. It's interesting to know that in Monoprix you can find food, hardware, clothing, or house goods. In fact, and especially gifts also. So it's a different kind of products you can find in the shop. So the goal of this experience was to try to send to the customers different promotions, in fact, and to increase engagement with the brand and with the app, in fact. And is one of the most famous projects in Paris using this technology for the importance of the brand, in fact, and because apparently they have, I don't have exact information about how is the number of signups or the promotions sent, but regarding the information that the Monoprix sent to us, they are really, really happy with this experience. It was 6-month experience, and they are working in the new step, okay, this year. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the most important retailers, in fact, in France, and it's a signal in the market if Monoprix start testing from 1 year ago now this technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, another one. Another very interesting project we launched ourselves in Spain last year also. It was for the ice cream branch from Nestlé company. It was a really funny project because the goal of Nestlé for the ice cream, it was to promote the ice cream app, first of all, and second, to send special promotions to the people, to the shopper, to the people who want to buy ice creams during the summer in all the area, the coast area, where you can find, in Spain we call that a kiosk for ice cream when you are on the beach, in fact. So installing one kiosk, one beacon in each kiosk in more than 900 different points in all the coast of Spain. So the very important thing, it was the action was from July to September, to the end of September, and 40,000 signups, okay, in the app with the promotion during these 3 months. So at this moment, it is the biggest action using beacons in Spain for one brand. Yeah, in fact. And regarding this situation or this experience, as we launch or we manage all the projects ourselves, okay, we are happy if you want by email to send to you more information to discuss more in detail about this experience. But the relevant data is 40,000 signups in 3 months for the app and sending promotion to buy ice creams.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cool because they were able to use geofence and QR codes too. Sure. So the geofence sent them to the point of sale message via GPS. And then once they were there, they got the beacon message, and then that asked them to pull up a QR code to get the deal. So they used a lot of these kind of drive to store technologies at once.
Yeah. It's interesting also because we work in this project with the digital agency for Nestlé. Is an international agency called BBDO, in fact. And initially, the agency was thinking about another gamification process or concept, asking the users to do different kind of things. So finally, the most efficient things are the most simple things, in fact. So we start having a high volume of signups and promotions sent to the users. One, we simplify the action. Okay, so sometimes, depending of the people involved in the project, you want to do a sophisticated action when normally the simple ones are the best ones, or the most efficient ones.
So these are 2 examples of what most people think of when they think of retails and beacons. Sending out marketing messages, basically, which beacons are great for, especially in store where you don't have GPS signal. But there's other ways you can use beacons too. Slide. For example, engaging MVP clients. So 2 examples here. True Religion. They've been giving out Apple Watches to their employees in New York and in Los Angeles. Would definitely like to be one of their employees at the moment. Get my Apple Watch. But the Apple Watches will be used with iBeacons to alert the staff members wearing it that there's a True Religion loyalty member entering the store. So the customer's name and past purchases get shown to them on the watch. So it's really cool. It's a good way for staff to be able to have this info and use it to make them feel like a VIP when they're entering the store. And it also freed the employees from staying near points of sale and having to carry around an iPad or something by using the Apple Watch.
And this is one of the most common goals that some companies try to reach when they use this technology, is you can do targetization, so you can have a special communication with a segment of your target. So in this case, the VIP clients. We used to work in the past for banks. Yeah. With the same, they had the same goal. Okay, identify the VIP clients when they come to the branch and ask us a salesperson to launch a special communication with them.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a couple other retailers doing this too. I'll just mention Frank and Oak. So they have assistants in store that help people find the right outfit, as well as barber shops and coffee shops in the store too. The way they use beacons is that when an Elevate member, which is their kind of customer loyalty program, the beacons will recognize them and offer them a coffee. So it's kind of a combination of recognizing your MVP client and then send them a special deal or special offer. It's not really directly related to the close or retail, but it adds a lot of value to the shoppers. And I would guess people would download the app just to get that free coffee. So it's cool beacon use there. And then on to the next category here, payments. So we wanted to add payments into one section here because we get a lot of questions about beacons as a seamless way like shoppers can pay. So you see it more often in cafes or restaurants, like Beer House in the States, Pay Easy, or there's this Woolsley app in India that's working with a bunch of different restaurants where you get sent a menu with beacons and then you can order and then pay afterwards. But we're now seeing a lot of payment providers like Google Pay using Bluetooth to identify people and a couple other players in the marketplace. So we're really seeing this as the future use case for beacons for retailers, providing the end-to-end experience, drive to store and beyond. So the way this would work is that upon entering a store, a consumer's payment app or your app would identify the beacon signal and alert your point of sale system of the user's presence. And then when they're ready to check out, the store could post the purchase to your mobile payment account, which is also visible at the checkout counter too. Or you could allow the customer to scan an item and pay for it on their own without the involvement of the store's cashier. So this can allow for a lot of payment freedom on the customer and really keep the queues down too. So it's good to think through beacons as an alternative to NFC because a lot of phones have beacon integration already. Plus, they allow the customer more freedom so they can purchase without having to get super close to the payment system. And that's all we had to say on payments. If you have any more questions, feel free to type them in, or happy to get to them at the end as well. And then our last group of case studies was using other apps. So as we said at the beginning, in general, beacons are used with apps unless you're using Eddystone. But it doesn't necessarily have to be using your app. So you can partner with shops nearby, for example, using Regent Street's app. Regent Street is kind of like the mecca of London for shoppers, and they've had beacons since 2014, which for the beacon space is eons ago. And so I think over 100 shops and restaurants on the street have beacons installed, and they send out in-store promotions, upcoming events, and exclusive offers. So they've gotten an engagement rate of 35%, and they've also seen redemptions via the mobile app increase tenfold in the time since they introduced beacons. So it's a good, successful example of how stores can partner with other nearby stores to offer beacon discounts.
Regarding projects that we manage, we can perhaps say that on this with this idea using other apps, we used to work in a project very interesting with the taxi app here in Spain, in Barcelona, and the partnership was with the media app, with the newspaper app. So using, as Jordan say, not your own app, but your partner app to send, in this case, promotions to download the taxi app. So it was a very interesting also project. One of the important things to understand that all the people try to find new models and new ways to use this proximity technology. I think this is the most important. So the creative side of the project is really, really important. But the way to think in have a partner app, so to work with other apps except yours, I think is a very interesting model to work with.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got some good experience with that too. And then I think on the slide share you see L2. This is one of the more famous examples of Beacons working with retailers. And so L Magazine tried to attach what they were doing with the magazine to physical stores. And so users that were within a mile of select stores would get a geofence message. This is actually pretty common, getting a geofence message like we did with Nestle. And then they would get a promo via Beacons when they're in the shop too. So yeah, you can think through a lot of different apps that you might want to partner with that could be used to promote your goods. So that is all of the best practices we have. Before we wrap things up and give you guys some time for questions here. We did want to say a couple of best practices, just kind of drawing everything together. So the first is don't send obvious spam with no benefits. Beacons can be a reason for users to download your app in the first place, like I'm sure they are for Frank and Oaks if you use them well enough. Giving people free coffee, who doesn't want that? Also, make sure users know exactly how your app uses their location data. So most of us are happy sharing information with apps that we're using as long as it's crystal clear what's in it for us. Perhaps even in your app onboarding, explain this. Explain that you're using Beacons, and this can get more people to turn Bluetooth on. Third best practice is focus on your MVP clients. You should tie into them somehow. Even if you're having general campaigns for everyone, but you want to do something for your MVP clients because they're the ones that want to have a lot of engagement from you in the first place. And make sure you're always offering them more value, treating them like MVPs. Fourth, proximity marketing can be a lot more effective if there's a well-defined analytics strategy in place prior to their deployment. So a lot of brands are using Beacons just for data. So knowing what data you'll collect and how you use it before you set the Beacons up is really essential. So beyond just improving your ad copies, you can also use the data for things like knowing where your MVP clients are in the store and seeing just your general customer flows. There's a lot you can do with the data if you set it up right. And lastly, keep in mind Beacons are flexible. So we had a lot of different case studies here with a lot of different brands doing different things. And the same Beacon can be used for a number of things, like helping your employees see customer flow, seeing if your MVPs are in the store, sending out a notification used for payments, and they can even help people, especially the visually impaired, navigate your store.
Okay, so for the moment, that is all we have. Okay, we really think that beacons are a very exciting and interesting technology, especially for retailers. Okay, we think that the retail industry need to have an eye deep on this new technology related with all this kind of innovations. As we say at the beginning, as Jordan said at the beginning, perhaps not only focus on beacons, but in the indoor location in general and outdoor location in general, or proximity in general. But beacons still being one of the most cheaper, we think clever and powerful technology where you can very easily try and test on your own. But anyway, we are really happy to speak with you guys, to try to learn, to try to help you, and to try to especially offer to, as Jordan say, a special free trial for one of our products is Nauticons, okay? And perhaps this is the best way to start doing the first steps, okay, with this technology. So keep in mind that we are always happy and open to Skype with you, to speak with you, or to send you some email and to share information.
Yeah.
Remind you that also we have office in, as I say, in Barcelona, but in Paris also. So as I say, if perhaps the French speaker people want to have a more specific webinar in French, or the Spanish speaking people want to do it, we are open to do that. At the same level, if you want to have any meeting or appointment, the Paris office and the Barcelona office are open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Estamos aqui.
If you have any questions on the in-depths, please feel free to tell us.
Yeah, exactly. We'll stay in the line for a few minutes via chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're here, can organize something one-on-one, like Emilio said. And, you will get a free trial email in maybe an hour and a half.
Actually, something like during the afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.